It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag Utah Jazz.
I want the players to be hyper competitive. I want them to want to be in the game. You know, obviously there's a line, right? You get subbed out. No one's happy to get subbed out, but you have to also understand you're a part of a team, and especially at this level, this is a professional basketball team, so the other guys that are going in the game are also pros. You try to have conversations in the days in between the games, but emotion's not all bad. Sometimes you need to let that stuff out, and being frustrated is okay.
Utah Jazz back in action tonight. 5 games to go in the season. They're playing the Clippers in L.A. PK, I guess the storyline here is, can the rookies who shot the ball well a couple games in a row, can they shoot it well? Can they rebound it? What kind of consistency are we going to get out of them? Because other than that, it's a reach to find storylines at this time of the year.
Isn't there 6 games to go?
Oh, I hope not. Is it still 6? Oh, it is.
Yeah,
you're right.
Tonight is
6.
there's 5 after tonight.
5 after tonight, yeah. 6 to go. You got anything else to watch for? Clippers are going back-to-back. There was a time we used to care about that, but the Jazz are getting thumped, so hard to believe that'll be much of an advantage. At least one they can capitalize on.
Just watch the young fellas. Hendricks, Sensabaugh, Keontae George. Can Sexton go for 30, 35? I mean, sure. I mean, I can come up with 5, 6 things to watch. No question about it.
Late game tonight, 8:30. Pre-game show starts at 7:30 here on The Zone. Markkanen, Clarkson, Collins, and Walker Kessler all listed as out tonight. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NBA.
Hartenstein has it right side of the arc. Bounce past Brunson near the foul line. Floater. Count it! And the foul. He was bumped from behind.
Steph high on the right side. A 25-5-5 kind of game for number 30. Between the legs a couple of times. Driving past Bullock. Scoop to the hoop. Off the glass. Yes, indeedy. Graffiti.
Maxey still dribbling on the wing. Tries baseline. Backs up. Baseline shot. It's good. Maxey delivers. 2-point field goal by the Miami bench.
Harden on the left elbow. Hammer dribble left hand. Looks for help. Swings it to George, who's been hot with a team high 17. On the right wing, he'll try another mid-range. He'll buy another mid-range. Paul George feeling good.
Paul George and the Clippers get the win 102-100 over the Denver Nuggets. Both teams were missing key players. Kawhi Leonard was out for the Clippers. Jamal Murray was out for the Denver Nuggets. Denver had a chance to win it at the end. The Joker missed a contested potential game-winning 3 at the buzzer. And then there was a technical foul and a 7-point swing. They thought there was a foul. It looked like a foul. They didn't get it. But for Denver, just get to the playoffs already.
Well, I say get healthy already.
Need Jamal back, huh?
I think they've proven they do, yeah.
Yep. Golden State keeps winning. They beat the Houston Rockets 133-110. They're like 15-3 in the last 18 road games. The road was a major problem for them early in the season. They seem to have solved it late here in the regular season. We'll see if it carries over for them in the playoffs, because obviously they're going to have to win on the road in the postseason, or the postseason is going to be over very quickly.
No, I think everyone's going to have to win on the road in the postseason.
New York Knicks announced the star forward Julius Randle will undergo season-ending shoulder surgery to repair damage that occurred when he dislocated his shoulder January 27th. He had extensive rehab and treatment, hopes that he'd be able to play again in the playoffs. Not going to happen. Knicks win again without him. They beat the Kings 120-109.
Yeah, I would think that's a blow.
Major blow to whatever they hope to accomplish in the postseason. Yep.
Yeah.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag college basketball.
Seton Hall scored the last 9 points of the game over the final 3 minutes and beat Indiana State 79-77. They win the NIT title. They beat the team that beat the Utes. Final 4 tomorrow. NC State and Purdue, followed by Alabama and UConn. The games are on TBS on TV. They're right here on The Zone on the radio. The 2-1 seeds, PK, you would think that they would advance. You like Alabama or NC State's chance to pull an upset?
I don't know. I don't care. I mean, I'm just going to watch the games. Sure, I guess. I don't know.
The Big 12 out of the Final Four again. Can the Big 12 keep claiming to be the best regular season league? They didn't have a Final Four team this year. They didn't have a Final Four team last year. Just sell the depth. It's the deepest league. At some point, you need a Final Four team.
You do? What do you get?
What do you get? If you're the best league, you get to puff out your chest, and your donors are more proud, and then they're more likely to open their wallets.
Okay. And don't forget the women Final Four.
Women's Final Four is tonight. The women are playing Friday, Sunday. The men are playing Saturday, Monday. And again, it's 2 1 seeds. Now, the other teams are 3 seeds. They're not 6 and 11 seeds, so it doesn't seem as big a long shot. South Carolina and NC State tonight at 5, and then Iowa and UConn at 7. The games are on ESPN. And that Iowa-UConn game, I can't believe they're going to turn that around in 2 hours. It'll be 7:30 by the time that thing starts. But in any case, there are the games tonight. I could ask you if the top seeds are going to win tonight, but are you going to give me another I don't know?
You're big on who's going to win. You like to ask the guy. I don't care. It literally makes no difference. So.
Then why watch? You got to care a little bit, right?
Oh no,
just
not
watch
at all.
for the drama.
The only way you're going to the only way you watch it is if you have a rooting interest.
You still care who's going to win.
I can tell you again. I guess you didn't believe me the first 4 million times. But that's your call. It's very rare there's a sporting event that I care who wins. I go to the movies. The same thing. This is nothing but the movies to me. I'm going to watch for the entertainment value. Really I just don't. I mean, that's you, Lunchbox Boy. Good for you. That wasn't me, and it's not. I don't care who wins. I don't want to ask people who they think they're going to win. It's just not my deal.
USC hired Arkansas coach Eric Musselman as their new men's basketball coach. He replaces Andy Enfield. So, there it goes. The dominoes keep falling. Now, what will Arkansas do? And how will it trickle down? DJ and PK.
Hashtag NFL.
It looked like Kyle Van Noy might be done after 9 years in the NFL. Wasn't with the team at the start of last season. Ravens had injuries. They brought him in, and he had a career-high 9 sacks, and he forced a couple fumbles in his 10th year in the league. And the Ravens have now offered him a 2-year deal that could be worth up to $9 million. This year's 11 and 12 in the league. He just turned 33 a little more than a week ago. Kyle Van Noy, BYU great, keeping it going in the NFL and with one of the elite teams.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that he's actually going to be on the team, though. They can cut him at any point.
They can.
But good for him.
Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice was driving the Lamborghini SUV that was involved in a 6-car chain reaction crash on the Dallas highway last weekend. His attorney confirmed that. Royce West says he wasn't sure why Rice left the scene after the accident, and he expects charges to be filed against Rice.
But don't judge him by this one incident.
The Houston Texans have wiped out the final 3 seasons on Stephon Diggs' deal. They're going to roll some of that money into next year. He can hit free agency. So he gets $22.5 million, and then he hits free agency, which could be a jackpot. Big year for him and the Texans. Philadelphia Eagles starting left tackle Jordan Mailata has agreed to a 3-year, $66 million extension. A former rugby player from Australia, he has transformed himself into a premier NFL offensive lineman.
Cool.
Making the transition. 27 years old, hitting the jackpot on the 3-year deal.
He'll be the 4th highest paid tackle in the league.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
61 outings for San Francisco. And Connor Joe lifts one to deep left field. To the wall. Clear the deck. Cannonball coming. Connor Joe's first long ball of the year. And the Pirates open up a 7-1 lead here in the 5th inning.
Full count now on Melendez. Here's the payoff pitch. Fastball crushed. Deep right center field. Fletcher's back all the way to the fence. It's way out of here. an 8-run inning.
3-2. Here's the payoff pitch. Breaking ball line towards third. Over the glove of the third baseman McKinstry down the left field line. Around third, digging for the plate is Beatty. He will score without a throw. Put it in the books. Carlos Mendoza has his first win as a major league manager. They defeat the Tigers 2-1 after going 0-5 at the start.
The Mets finally get a win. Back into the doubleheader. They win 2-1. They were 0-5. They have broken through. Meanwhile, the Marlins have not. They keep losing. They're 0-8 now after the Cardinals hit them with a 7-run seventh inning.
That's bad. 0-8.
0-8. Definitively, yeah, that's bad. Also, your Carter Joe go deep. Pirates are off to a great start. They have started out 6-1. We'll see how long they can continue this, but they end up beating the Nationals 7-4. Also, the Yankees and the Dodgers are back at it. The two powerhouses, the two brands, off to a great start. Dodgers and Cubs on ESPN. If you're looking for a little day baseball, PK, ESPN Old School, about noon today, 12:20, I think. Dodgers and Cubbies kicking off a weekend series. If you want to see if the 7-2 Dodgers can keep it rolling.
Well, the Yankees can better that by an hour. They start at 11:05.
Yeah, I don't know if that'll be on MLB Network or if you get that somewhere. Are you still getting your free package, or we're through a week now, so I don't know if they started scrambling everything.
I think it lasts a week, yeah.
Yankees 6-1 hosting the Blue Jays today at 11 a.m. Bees lost to the Tacoma Rainiers 7-4. Same two teams tonight. First pitch 6:35. The game's on 1280 The Zone. Tony Parks on the call. And in a unique deal, have you ever heard a game delayed due to eclipse? The Yankees moving a 2 o'clock start back to 6 o'clock after the eclipse. I thought they could have just, turned on the stadium lights and played through it, but nope. Moving the game back to 6 o'clock. DJ and PK.
Hashtag RSL.
RSL, back-to-back wins. Can they make it 3 in a row? They're on the road tomorrow at Minnesota United. Minnesota was off to an unbeaten start. 10 points through their first 4 matches until they got beat last week in Philly. First kick 6:30 here on The Zone Saturday night, 5:30 for the pre-match show. We're going to talk with Kurt Schmidt, Real Salt Lake Chief Soccer Officer, coming up at 8:30. David Locke, radio voice of the Jazz, is here at 8 o'clock. And the question of the day is next. That's what's trending. Hot takes or toast. Coming up next right here on The Zone.
Accessing.
This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G.
I will tell you that I am stomping my feet about this with BYU football. And, I'll take the heat because I get the pushback from coaches or BYU fans or whatever. I don't care. BYU has to do everything they've got to do to improve their pass rush. I don't want to hear about, the pressures were coming at a 34% clip. I need sacks. I will also tell people that BYU is taking large strides to make sure it doesn't happen again. Chad Kawahaha is over working with the defensive line. Gary Anderson is working with the defensive line. Sione Puak will stay on staff. Kelly Popinga is working with edges. People ask, what does BYU got to do to take the next step? Find a freaking defensive line that can play. Find a D-line that can ball.
Catch Hans and Scotty weekdays from noon to 3 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hot Takes or Toast is brought to you by Siegfried and Jensen with 30 years of serving Utah. Question of the morning with the Jazz playing tonight. Do the Jazz go winless the rest of the way? That has generated a lot of comments, PK.
I thought we were doing the NHL thing.
I thought we were doing that in the next segment, in the short segment. At the top,
okay,
going in the top
bad.
of the hour.
My bad. Okay, go ahead.
Do the Jazz go winless the rest of the way? And Cody, man, here's a response you never thought you'd see. Hopefully. Jazz fans rooting for the Jazz to lose. What has happened in the universe, PK? Well, they've lost a lot. That's what's happened.
I think it's uniformity, though. Jazz management rooting
for
for the Jazz to lose.
Tony, if the Jazz can't beat San Antonio at home, it should be 0-6 the rest of the way. And Chris, to your point about management, yep, that's the plan. Don't act like you didn't know it.
Okay, yeah.
Matthew goes a step farther. I hope so. Negativity sells. Must embrace the negativity and join the dark side. And he's got Darth Vader with red lightning. It's like in a Martian winter or something. Red lightning behind him. He's got his lightsaber out ready to create havoc.
Yeah, I think negativity definitely sells in the news world. You know, you have to, in this day in which we live, you have to come down on a side. And if you're on one side, you're going to be lambasted. If you're on the other side, you're progressive and all that stuff. So you have to have an opinion. But that's in the news business. I don't think that necessarily negativity sells in the sports business. I think that the more positive you can get, the better you're going to sell, because the positivity means winning.
Matthew, if Danny gets his way, Jim, isn't that the goal? Lots of comments about that, and a few people pointing at the ping pong balls in the draft order. David, it sure looks like they will. I'm not sure if a top 8 draft pick will make us better off or worse, so we can lose again next year. Keep the players. Let them develop a winning culture. I hope Larry and Jerry are rolling over in their grave. You hope they're tortured in their... I don't know if you can hope that.
You're supposed to rest in peace, though, I thought.
I thought so, too. Yes. Rest in peace. You don't want people tortured in their graves. David, maybe instead of saying I hope, he says, I know Larry and Jerry are rolling over in their grave. That would make more sense. They went through a rebuild once upon a time and had a 26-win season. Missed the playoffs 3 years in a row. So Larry and Jerry, it wasn't exactly like this, but they did get a taste of the painful 3-year rebuild.
Yeah, but did they purposely try to lose?
Nope. They did not. Kevin O'Connor famously said, Jerry messed up the rebuild by winning 40 games. Messed everything up. Coached his butt off. Wasn't exactly what Kevin said.
Yeah, we've had some great coaching. Just what's the word?
We've had Hall of Famers. Sloan, Hall of Famer. Lavelle Edwards, Hall of Famer. Kyle Whittingham, one day, might be a college football Hall of Famer. See how that plays out. We've seen a lot of good coaching. And the coaches who haven't been here as long but have still been very successful.
But just the ability to build programs. You know, you could go with Gary Anderson at Utah State, Jay Hill at Weber State. Kristobiak did it. It got away from him, but he did it. Steve Cleveland did it.
Yeah. Bronco did it.
Bronco did it. Absolutely, programs that were way, way down.
You want to go way back? How about Ronna Beglin at Weber State, winning 2 NCAA tournament games 2 different years?
Yeah. So you have to look at them and say, there's been a lot of development into winning, taking losing and transforming it. And that's always impressive. And certainly what Coach Sloan did that one particular year that you speak of was extremely impressive. And even Quinn Snyder got the thing going when it was down. Now, you really can't hold it against Will Hardy at this point that he hasn't gotten it going yet, because he's got 9 fingers tied behind his back, not just one hand. So it's completely and totally unfair to evaluate his coaching duration at this point. I think you really got to get into a postseason or two to see where he's at and what adjustments he can make as they get in those series, which is very, very fun to watch as a fan, to see the back and forth that goes on in those 10 days to 2 weeks when you have an extended series in the postseason.
That's an interesting thing. You know, if you go with the old the classroom thing of quizzes, tests, midterms, and finals, well, the playoffs would be the finals, right? The final exams. And he hasn't taken those yet, so how can you really give him a grade? Would you consider the 52 games this year or the start of last season, like there's something there, but do we want to evaluate them? Is it a quiz? Is it a test? Is it a midterm? How much credit does he get for the 26-26 start, which either matched or outperformed your expectations? I don't think it really underperformed anybody's expectations. And once the trade happens, well, now you're just getting incomplete for the rest of the season. because between the trades and the guys they're sitting, we really don't have any expectations of them do anything. So how much do you want to weight those 52 games as far as his coaching ability?
I go by playoffs myself to see.
So it's all quizzes and it's not that much info.
Ainge undercut that first part of last season himself by saying with Kessler, well, he went against backup dudes. There was a lot of guys who sat out. So Hardy's boss basically said, "Don't judge that." Because if I can't judge it on, if you can't judge Hardy,
Kessler, right? How can you judge Hardy?
Right?
Because obviously he's coaching against a team that's missing guys.
Yeah. So I'm only going by his own words himself. He put that out there, so I'm going to run with it because he's the one who said it. So to me, when they're in the position to win, let's see what they got. Because at no point here have they underachieved. And I think that's the worst thing for a coach to be saddled with. You underachieved. That's why Locke just goes to great lengths to try to not have that happen. Because that's bad if you underachieved. And I don't think that he's been in the position to underachieve, to evaluate, oh boy, his teams have really underachieved. No, not at all, man. They just keep losing because they're not intending to win. So hopefully for him it comes in year 3, if not year 4. If it goes to year 5 or year 6, I'll really just start to pull my hair out, and so probably will he. So I don't know that we'll get to that point. I don't think that's where they're planning to go to that point. Planning to win at some point for sure. Whether they do or not remains to be seen. So to me, it's a big I for incomplete.
Aaron, so bitter right now. This is just another lesson about what happens when you invest in the Jazz. They're just cannon fodder for the league to provide enough games and revenue to pay the superstars. Aaron has no hope of this getting any better, any more entertaining, of the wins piling up. Sleepless in Seattle, hopeless in Salt Lake.
Yeah, but why are we just putting it in here? Why we?
Because we're here.
But the league is not interested in that. Sure, the league wants the Knicks and the Lakers and Boston and the usual suspects to be good. That makes the league more money. We understand that. But it's not like the league goes away and they don't get a television contract and they have to think about going on streaming their games on Apple and Hulu and whatever else is out there. And then 8 teams join the Canadian Basketball League and the league folds, a la Pac-12. Man, I don't see that. So there's opportunities to win.
The Spurs won 5 championships and the league continued to flourish. Revenue went up. Everybody made more money. TV deals got more lucrative, and the Spurs were winning 5 times.
So I don't see it's hopeless here. It's harder here, but not hopeless.
David, answering the question, do the Jazz go winless the rest of the way? It really doesn't matter. They're a game behind Brooklyn. If you lose, you keep number 8. If you win, you might get 9th. We don't need to do that. That's minus value. And they're far enough ahead of 7. There's no hope there. Just makes it no fun to go to a game. I was going to go, but now I'm not.
To a game you're speaking of?
That's what he said, yes. A game.
Somebody else will go then.
That does seem to be how it's working out this year. But they probably are locked into 8. That does seem most likely. I do think they could win a game. Don't you wonder? I mean, the last game, are the Warriors going to have anything to play for? What kind of G League team will they run out there? They'll have a play-in game coming up pretty quickly, presumably. I don't know what the schedule will be, but it won't be very far away. I can see them resting a bunch of guys. They might be capable of winning that game, depending on what kind of lineup the Warriors run out there. There might be a win left in the season.
Well, Big Old Chad had a lineup, so we'll just have to see.
Ha! One of the best segments, one of the best shows. So let's go, people. Other than that, do you see them winning? If the Warriors sit everybody in the last game and run a G League team out there, to me, that seems like an option.
Yeah, I don't have the schedule, so I don't know. I'm not a schedule dude.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. But if other teams sit other players, anything is possible there. But the way they're playing, no.
Yeah.
I don't. I think their G League players are worse.
Going to get beat
than
by the other people's
guys.
G League players.
Yeah.
They play the Rockets after the Rockets will be eliminated. The Rockets are 4 games back now, so they haven't been eliminated yet, but they will be here momentarily,
Right.
and they
But
should be by the
what
time
would
the
be
Jazz
the point
play.
of Rockets sitting there, guys?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't always tell you what the point is of everybody sitting. I just know, you come in and Yock's got a list of all the people who are sitting out for the Jazz, and you could ask him to do it for the whole league, and he's like, yeah, I don't want to get in at 3 a.m. and track all that down, so. There's a lot of guys sitting.
You might be able to do it the night before, though.
Possibly.
At this point, who cares?
I
There's
know.
6 games still left. Well, whoever they have, they have.
Whoever they run out, they run out. Yep.
Doesn't really matter. But, yeah, I can see them. I think it would be cool to really hit rock bottom and just finish out.
Finish out 3-27 in the last 30.
Yeah.
They're 3-21 right now. 6 more losses to go, people. And then the 8th pick, and who do they get? Assuming the ping pong balls don't scramble the order. Man, if you go from 9 to 8, and then whoever is 9 hits the jackpot and moves up, that'd suck.
Or I think it would suck worse if you drafted 8 and your guy wasn't good.
It wasn't
at the
good, and
ninth
the guy at 9 was a gem.
Yeah.
To
me, that's far more important.
There's an all-star at number 9.
Yeah. You draft Jimmer and somebody else drafts Klay Thompson. Yeah, right. I think that's far more worse than whatever ping pong ball order comes out.
All right, hit us up, Twitter, David DJ James. Are the Jazz going to win again? We will get to more of your responses coming up. And David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz, will join us at 8 o'clock. We will have more on the Jazz then. Going to take a break right now. When we come back, story out of Arizona. The Coyotes, the NHL team, for sale. Allegedly, multiple bidders. We will get to that next. Stay with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I present...
This is JJ and Alex.
Jay Stevens, Utah Puck Report is a podcast you can go listen to yourself.
The writing is on the wall. I mean, there's $1 billion just approved through legislation. I think the state sees it, the city sees it as an opportunity to kind of revitalize downtown Salt Lake City. So even the people that aren't hockey fans are on board. The NHL really seems to like Ryan Smith. So you just start putting all those pieces together, and it just looks like it's inevitable. And that's how I see it. I see, like, this is something that's happened. This train's coming. You should get on board and enjoy it, and then be able to say I was there from the beginning.
Catch JJ and Alex afternoons from 3 to 6. Presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The band of the day is Sam Hunt, brought to you by Live Nation. Sam Hunt will be at the Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater August 3rd. Tickets go on sale today at 10 a.m. for all the live concerts and events in 2024. Check out livenation.com.
Okay.
Utah sports future, hinging on what happens in other places. Baseball, what's going on in Oakland? What's happening in Sacramento? The Athletics are going there before they go to Vegas. All right, is everything in order? Can we have expansion? And for the NHL, what's going on in Phoenix with the Coyotes? Are they moving? Multiple stories out, PK. One story says that the Coyotes owner has already sought out potential buyers. But the Coyotes have also pushed back. They're trying to buy 100 acres in north or northeast Phoenix.
Northeast, yeah. It's just right across from where they play the golf.
Here's
what's going to happen on that. There's going to be an auction.
Yeah.
And it's June 27th, and the minimum bid has to be $68.5 million. And at this point, according to the Arizona Land Department, which you can look this up, this is all public record, because they officially posted the auction of the 95-acre land. It's 110.
Parcel.
It's 110 in its entirety, and it says about 17,000 seats. And, of course, they want the entertainment district, shops, restaurants, residence theater, blah, blah, blah. They want a practice facility there. So that land is going to go up for auction for $68.5 million. And right now, there is no one else who's applied for the parcel. But it's the beginning of April, so you still have more than 2.5 months to go. And the way it works is then I just said the minimum $68.5 million. And so if there's bidders, then the highest bid wins, right?
The price goes where it goes. It's an auction.
Yeah.
But it's also more complicated than all of that. They're going to need tax dollars because you would know the geography better, but it's basically this looks like it's the middle of nowhere and it doesn't have water and it doesn't have sewer. And so they're going to have to put in $60, $80, $100 million. There have been multiple numbers reported to put the infrastructure in to support all of the things you just listed, the arena, the residential, the theater. Presumably there isn't any power out there either. That would have to go in.
I wouldn't say it's in the middle of nowhere.
Okay. But it doesn't have water and sewer.
It's on the other side of what they call the loop.
The loop? The 101?
Yes. That's a thing that starts down by like Chandler, heads north through Tempe, Scottsdale.
And loops around town like a belt road, right?
And yes, and then it turns right around North Scottsdale, really the Mayo Clinic, and where they play the waste management. It starts to turn left if you're going north. South would be right, but if you're going north, it starts to turn and goes west. And you can actually take that road all the way around west, and then you start to go south again, and that's where...
Hence the loop.
On the other side is where the football stadium is. It's right there. I mean, there's an exit right there. It's an freeway off-ramp. You can walk from the exit to the football stadium, and then it hooks up with the 10 that would take you all the way into L.A. And so I'm reading a story on this, and that was out of Arizona, obviously, and the public records research conducted since 2017, there have been 117 Arizona land auctions, and only 26 of the 117 had multiple bidders. So take that for what it's worth. And if they do have multiple bidders, then this dude is going to have to
presumably pay more.
Alex Murillo, the guy who owns it, now he could sell it. I mean, any number of things. But the folks think that that they'll get the land and proceed, but who knows?
So do you think both these stories are true, that they are chasing the auction, but at the same time, he's talked to multiple – this is another story from Arizona Sports. He's spoken to multiple potential buyers who are in the state and outside of it.
Well, yeah. I mean, how much is that
both
a threat?
At the same time.
And how much is that you have to have backup plans? There's also talk about where the football stadium is on the other side of town. They also have what used to be Gila River Arena, now is Desert Diamond Arena, and possibly playing there on an interim basis so they don't play 3 full seasons at Mullet Arena, which was put up in a parking lot at ASU for their hockey team. And
it seats 5,000.
Yeah.
And isn't viewed as a major league facility.
No, not
about the third of the size of a major league facility, an NHL arena.
So we'll have to see. I was thinking, well, maybe Ryan Smith ought to just use some of his money and buy that land, undercut him that way.
Slam the door on his fingers.
Ryan, what are you doing here? Well,
yeah, because whoever shows up, I don't think they're going to release whoever the bidders are. They don't release it until it's the day of and the auction starts. You follow me?
Yep.
That's not. They're
surprise.
Not. That's not part of a public.
The public record
thing. Yeah, they don't do that.
And this is all laid out in the state constitution. So this is the timeline that's going to proceed, and they got to wait 10 weeks. So it's not like the auction's going to get moved up. So all of this means that by the time they get all of this done, have the auction, win the auction, get the infrastructure in, they're targeting like 2027. It's like the Vegas baseball stadium. You can only put it up. You can only build it so fast.
Right.
So,
Right,
are the Coyotes going to go through all of this, or is there a sale? There's out-of-state bidders. Ryan Smith has, been public multiple times with his interest. Do the Coyotes end up here in a year or two?
I would think that they would be able to buy the land because, as you said, you buy the land, but then you got to do all this other stuff.
Right.
And what are you going to do with the land? There had been talk of the Mayo Clinic buying the land to expand, but that has been shot down by Mayo Clinic people that says no, that they're not interested because they purchased in 2021 220 acres from the state.
We already got our land. We're good.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so they're not interested in it. So I don't know who else would be. Maybe some developer. Obviously, who else would it be?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who the players are in Arizona and who might be interested in doing something. And
well, I know you don't know.
It's a huge
I'm
chunk.
talking about just abstractly.
Arizona State. I mean, they're expanding. They're massive.
Yeah, but everything's online. I don't know. They're going to build more campuses.
Arizona's benefited a lot. The chip makers have built huge facilities down there. Would there be somebody like that, some industrial use for it? Again, whoever goes in there is going to need all this infrastructure.
Yeah, I don't think it's really an industrial area. It's more restaurant shops. I mean, the whole project, just like the one that we've heard on the west side here, what did they say, that was $3 billion? Because I think that's exactly what they say the whole project would be over there in Arizona. I think it's the same type of price tag. They've got renderings, and sure, it looks really, really cool. There's videos on it. It's about 3 minutes long of what they've got planned, and it looks stunning and all that stuff. We'll see if it actually happens and what the final thing is. That would be years away. I'll be dead by then, so I won't care.
At the bottom of one of these stories in the Arizona Sports Story, they do have a quote from the Associated Press. CEO Ryan Smith said the company is, quote, 100% focused on making this happen as soon as possible, bringing the NHL to Salt Lake City. So,
right, but I don't think it has to be the Coyotes.
It does not. It gets.
I don't think it's a big deal from Utah's perspective, from Ryan Smith's perspective. They'll get a team either way.
How soon will they get a team? Will they wait? Will the NHL?
What's the difference?
Will the NHL wait? Well, he wants it right away. That's the difference. Wants it now.
I don't know that he does.
The quote. I'm trusting the quote. 100% focused on making this happen as soon as possible.
Well, that's not. I don't know that means now. Because we know that they've told the NHL's told them you only get to go Delta Center for 2 years. So as soon as possible, it's not going to be now. They're going to have to figure out what to do about an arena and all that stuff, and so that could basically eliminate now. Start to get the expansion team start to build the arena, so they slide in there. 2 years is nothing to wait. Is zero. There'll be NHL here. This has, irrespective of anything that happens in Arizona. So I feel more confident about that than I do MLB.
What is the difference, the reservation? That MLB, the two other cities will get attractive bids together and edge Salt Lake out?
I just think the NHL wants to expand, wants to come to Salt Lake, and they need Salt Lake just as much as Salt Lake needs them, whereas in baseball, it's about us hoping that they choose us. That's just my personal feeling on it. Could be 100% off base, but that's my personal view. How many cities have an owner, metaphorically speaking, dying to get NHL? It just seems like NHL teams have moved a lot, and they need stability. All right, just look at Arizona. It's a classic example.
Right. Atlanta's lost a couple of teams.
Right.
There have been a couple Canadian teams that have moved, although it's been a little bit now. But Quebec and Winnipeg have lost teams at different times. So.
And when's the last baseball?
Last baseball would be the Expos. Yeah. Baseball has been more stable than any other sport. Those teams just don't move very often.
Right.
And before Montreal, am I forgetting somebody, or is it all the way back to Washington moving to Texas 50 years ago? 55 years ago.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Right. And then I will see with Oakland going to Vegas. So that would be the latest thing there. And Vegas became hot, literally and figuratively. Good for them. So I think, to me, it just seems like this is something that's going to happen, and it's better off for the expansion anyway. I mean, you listen to Bettman, and he says that Arizona, that the owner of the Coyotes is committed to hockey in Arizona. He's committed to the project. That they're going to be the winning bid. But if it's not, then all bets are off. So at June 27th, I assume they decide that day. I don't know how that's so far out of my league. I don't know how that works. But they start in the morning, and by the end of the day, they've got a literal winner. And if that's not the case, if these guys don't win, then that's a complete and total game changer at that point.
DJ PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz, joins us next. Stay with us.